finally Halloween week. My daughter is a big fan of anything kind of Halloween or horror movie related. So she's picked a horror movie theme for me to flip. This is the theme from Dead Silence. So I'm going to flip that into some kind of underground boom bap beat. Now I'm not going to play the full theme to you, but I will leave a link for it down in the description below. Let's jump straight into Ableton and chop it up. So I've got the theme loaded here into Ableton. I haven't done absolutely anything to it yet. Take a little listen to it. So you got the intro section here. And then you got a faster section over here. I think that's probably the main part that I'll use to flip. All I'm going to do to start is just get this kind of in timing on the grid. Let's come down here and press warp. Let's kind of set this here as the start. So we go to set 1-1 here. As you can see on the grid now, that's just kind of taking it back to the start. And I'm just going to right click. I'm going to select warp from here. This should bring it to our current tempo. I think this section here is probably just a little bit faster flip. All I'm going to do is split this off. Move this over. And I'm just going to click here on ×2, which will stretch it to being twice as long. I think that's probably something we could work with. Let's just pull in a simpler and drag this in. Now I have a select slice and I go to beat. So as you can hear, this is just sliced it on grid. I'm just going to play around here and find some chops that I like. Maybe we could do something backwards with it. Or maybe we could just switch them up a bit, something like this. Then maybe something different for the end section. Or maybe something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and record this in. Obviously, I haven't played that on time. I didn't use the metronome. We can just quantize these. Okay, so I can hear in here there's a few things that I don't really want, so I'm just going to start by rolling out the low end. The kind of mallet hits here are a little bit too kind of almost percussive for me. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of this plugin here. It's called Remix by Acon Digital. Kind of like a stem separation kind of tool. Solo this drum section here. This is what I want to pull out. Let's mute that. Sounds just a little bit cleaner. And I can also just hear some clicks and pops. Now we could go ahead and change the fade in and fade out, but sometimes I find it just easier to use RXD click. So if I tick output clicks only, you can hear what that's removing. Really little kind of quiet clicks, but I really don't want them in there. Let's untick this. Let's just freeze and flatten this. As you can hear, it's a lot cleaner now. So now we can play with the pitch. Let's select complex here. Let's just try pitching it up by a couple. Gives it a bit more energy. So I don't actually know the original pitch of the sample, but I was thinking from my ears it's D sharp minor. That would move us up to F sharp minor. Go ahead and add a drum rack. I'm actually just going to come into my splice folder for this one. I'm thinking maybe something from the era old school hip hop pack. I think there's some snares in here that will fit really nicely. Maybe this juniper one. Put these in on the 2s and the 4s. Pretty simple. Add an extra hit in here. Maybe even add an extra hit at the end. Bring the snare down in volume. Go with this kick here as well. Let's just add a bit more swing to that though. Utilize some of the groove pool. Just going to go ahead and use the NY cuts one. And I'm going to bring this timing down to maybe about somewhere around 60%. Just add that into the clip here. Maybe just a little bit less. Bring the timing down to about 50. And then for the kicks here, where we have two together, just going to bring this one down in velocity just slightly, just to kind of make it feel a little bit almost more realistic. It's kind of subtle, but it just kind of adds to the groove. It's going to pull in a hi-hat. I'm going to keep it 500 kit. Now, as always, if you do want this kit, it's completely free and the link is in the description below. I'm going to go with this Fusion hi-hat. I'm going to set this one to classic because I kind of want to tighten it up. I don't want all this tail here, so we're going to pull the sustain down. Then we're just going to pull the decay down as well. A little bit less than that. Keep these really simple as well. I'm going to pull this one down on velocity. Just going to bring that all the way across. Then we can just randomize them. We can also humanize these a little bit as well. By pitching that down. Let's just pan them out to the left a little bit. Now we'll come back and add some more percussion later. But right now I'm just going to add some more instruments. Let's reintroduce a little bit of low frequencies with the piano. Put it on the root note here. Put it down an octave. Okay, that doesn't sound right at all. Sounds slightly off, so I'm wondering if the actual sample's kind of detuned. So let's pull in a tuner. Solo it. Okay, so a lot of the notes here are kind of detuned by about 35 to 39. So to sort that out, I'm going to bring in the sound shifter from Waves. And we'll just kind of pitch it up by about 39 or 35 cents or so. Try 35. So for the most part, that's kind of making it in the right region. So that'll be fine. Sounds way better now. Thinking I had the complete wrong kind of scale there for a second. Just picking these out as well. Maybe pull these in. Add another one in here. I honestly probably overuse this kind of 165 progression, but it always sounds so good. Bring that one more octave up as well. Drop the velocities on these higher ones just a little bit though. Cut out the really kind of low sub. Boost this up here a bit. Just pan this slightly to the left. Drop it down just a little bit further. Counteract the piano being slightly to the left. I'm just going to add this choir and pan this slightly to the right. Let's just record this in. Quickly quantize these. I think there's nothing that sounds more kind of creepy and gothic than a choir, to be honest. Pan these over to the right slightly. Maybe even thicken this out with the octave below. Don't really want to overcomplicate this one, so I'm just going to add one more counter melody. Maybe something like this staccato. Just messing around there, but I quite like that, so I'm just going to hit capture MIDI. Quantize these as well. Add the groove pool onto these as well, so they're not so static. Bring these ones back as they're a little bit off time. And this one here, randomize them as well. Let's humanize them too. Boost a little bit of the higher mids. A little bit of pan shaping as well. Kind of just looked at where the waveforms are and just pan them into opposite directions. Bring the mix down a little bit though. And just to really kind of bring the drama and suspense into the chorus, I'm gonna add a really high pitched string. One note. Maybe bring it down here and follow the chord progression. A little bit of kickstart too on this as well, just to give some motion. Drop the volume. Some stab hits as well. Drop the volume on those for a bit of impact. I think these higher pitched strings also need some reverb. Let's drop that before the kick start. Really simple open hat. Let's try pitching that down. And this to the left as well, so it kind of matches the hi-hat. In fact, we could even take out the hi-hat hit. Add a little shaker in to the right as well. Keep it really simple though. For the bass line, I'm going to go with the Scarby Rickenbacker bass. Now, because it's Halloween, I've set it to the Halloween preset, of course. So now that we've got that in, as always, we can just add some little riffs. Drop the volume on this down. Put it into mono. Don't think I really need to add too much more here, but I'm just going to add a crash. This will just be kind of every 4 bars, or maybe just when we come into the chorus, or maybe out of the chorus and into the verse on the transition sections, just to kind of give that extra impact. Widen that out as well with a little bit of S1 stereo imager. And these strings as well out to the right. I think maybe in the verse I could have a section with a sample. I'm just using some half time on it. Let's see how that sounds. We set it to 16ths. Just to kind of bring it lower. So we could have a section where we take like the low piano out. We just have that in with the drums maybe. Normally it would be like this. And we can drop it. And then we could bring in a section maybe with the piano comes back in. We just bring it back out. Let's see how that sounds. Might help if I bring the drums over too. Why is my piano not playing now? Turned it off. My bad. Got the low energy here from the half time. And switch it up. Brings back in the high energy and kind of brings the low energy from the piano. I think this beat's sounding full enough, to be honest, and just between the different sections and using some automation, I can structure it all out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then play you out with the final beat. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you have a really good Halloween. And until next time, I've been SK. Peace.